Howdy everyone. Let me take my gum out here. It's Uncle Jonathan, and I'm going to make a video today. I'm going to probably make a series of videos. This is going to be the, I guess, first one that I've really made out in the field. Kind of helping people that want to get into deer hunting. So I started, this will be the beginning of my third season. It's October, I think we're somewhere around October 10th or 8th or 9th, somewhere around there. And this is the last weekend before bow season starts, which is usually going to be, no matter where you're at, the first season. This will be my first bow season. Just left the archery range, got my bow sighted in, took a few lessons, and I'm feeling very confident, good, that I can pretty much nail anything at about 30 yards that I want to. 40 yards is going to be probably the extreme edge of my range, but I'm confident. So what I'm out here at Cahaba, or what's known as William Ireland WMA, which is a wildlife management area. This is public hunting land. Like most people starting off that maybe you hunted as a kid, or maybe you've never hunted at all. I just want you to know I was 42 years old, started hunting by myself, got a lot of help from a lot of other resources, and we're going to talk about that today. But I'm kind of in a good place where I feel like I have a lot of knowledge and research, and I want to pass that on. I hope you guys find this video interesting. So today we're going to talk about like what you need for scouting and why you want to scout. So my first mistake when I first started hunting, 3 years ago now, was I thought that, you know what, I need to set up somewhere. I'd shot in a lot of rifles, a lot of guns. I was very familiar with them. I was very confident with my rifle up to, 100, 150 yards. And I'm thinking, these deer aren't going to let me get close to them. I need wide open spaces where I can see, okay, get into the trees. You go into what we call hardwood bottoms, which are going to be more oak trees and stuff like that, where you got a lot of leaves under you. Usually they go down to a creek bottom in my region, and you can see a good 60, 70 yards in just about all directions. And so I basically wasted a lot of time just setting up and looking in these areas during the day, and thinking a deer was just going to come along. And through a lot of my research and stuff, I really realized that what I was looking at was from my point of view, from a very humanistic centric point of view, and not the way that the deer look at it. And when you learn the habitat where you're at, you will start to learn, and every habitat's going to be different. We're in an area where we're kind of on the edge of where the Appalachian Mountains kind of meet the coastal plain. So you can pretty much drive about 30 minutes south of here, and it's going to be flat. It's going to be cotton fields. It's going to be agricultural land. Very, what you would think of kind of going down to southern Alabama and Florida. Here, it is still here. We have some hilly area. We call it pine ridges and hardwood bottoms. So you're going to see some hills. I'm going to take some pictures of it here in a minute. A little bit. I'm in my car because it's a little windy, but you can see kind of, this is an area that's recently been cleared and cut down, but you can tell that we got some elevation changes, probably about 50, and at the bottom of just about all of these, you call it a draw, there's going to usually be a creek or maybe an area that gets wet when it's raining. These are where your hardwoods are going to be usually. And then as you go up the ridges, you're going to see pine trees. Now, the reason I'm starting off here is, one, it's close to the entrance, but I want you to see what's really cool about a habitat, because you might think that, well, deer live in the woods, that they want a big, healthy, forest that's been there for 100 years, and that's not true. The deer actually need areas like this that have been clear cut. I'm going to get out with the camcorder here in a minute, but you're going to see that right now there's probably nothing taller than about 4 or 5 feet out here. When I come back next year, this is probably going to be more like, everything's going to have grown, probably by about a foot or two. And a lot of the stuff that you see now is not going to be here, because these pine saplings are now going to be getting bigger. They're going to start, killing out some of this grass and competing for it. And eventually this is probably going to turn into a thicket. This area will probably be too thick for a human to even walk through. in a couple of years. And it's amazing how fast it happens. It's amazing what a resource you realize that this land is, because it's really cool. I'll take some pictures of it too, but there's a gas wells all over this land, and most of this land is either owned by timber companies or steel company. I think insurance company owns it. And basically your tax dollars pay to lease this land for the hunting rights and recreational rights for the land. But it's also being used by three different ways. It's creating recreational opportunities for hunters like me. It's also creating timber, and it's also creating natural resources like oil and gas, which is really, really cool if you think about it. That's the maximum use of the land is really being achieved here for everyone, as opposed to thinking about like a state park or an other area that's being more preserved. As a matter of fact, I just left a state park, a very beautiful state park, great place to hike, great place to take the kids, great place to go swim, great place to put up an archery range. But as far as hunting habitat, it's way different because it actually is artificial. This is actually more natural and more the way the natural world would work. If you think about if people weren't here, there would be forest fires, there'd be all kinds of things that would happen that would naturally clear out areas like this. They would grow back, a lightning would strike in another area, burn out that area, and the forest is constantly in a state of renewal. So it's really cool. So let me step out here with the camcorder. Oh, just a couple of things. So when I go scout, I take a little backpack with me. It's kind of a big one, but I would say the most important thing you're going to want is water. It's about 70 degrees. Is the first cool weekend we've had. I'm wearing a hoodie. This thing is about to come off because I know I'm going to get hot. I'm going to go ahead and stick it in my backpack because it is pretty lightweight. And I mean, on the off chance that something happened where I did fall over and break a leg or whatever, if I was out here for an extended amount of time after dark, which I do not anticipate, I want to be able to put something on to stay warm. So it's always good to kind of think ahead of eventualities. Everywhere I'm at, I can get cell phone service. People know I'm out here, so people would come looking for me. But you want a fully charged cell phone, obviously. But you want to have a plan. Always let somebody know where you're at, and that just think about safety first. So with that being said, let's go and step out of the car and let's get some footage here. So as you can see, it's kind of easier seeing that it's all been clear cut. There's a draw. You see those trees down there. Some hardwoods down there, and there's probably water down in the creek. It's actually an oil or a gas pump there. And you can actually see this is almost getting high enough to be a good habitat for the deer to move through. Once this stuff starts getting about 4 feet high consistently, the deer feel very protected in it, and they'll move through this stuff. If you look here, this is what we call a pine ridge, where these pines were left where they stopped cutting. You see how much space there is in between those trees? So the deer are going to feel much more safe in this stuff once it grows up about another foot or so next year than they will in those trees. If you can see through it, they can, especially during the day. That's what we're talking about here. Pine ridges and hardwood bottoms, which we're going to see a lot more of here in a bit. Let me get off this pile of rocks before I break my leg. Okay, so now that you see what we're looking at, I want to start showing you how easy it is to actually spot trails out here. I got a low battery already. So if you think about, like, if you were to end up visiting Earth from another planet, and you're coming in from outer space, first thing you're probably going to notice is, like, right, all these ribbons of concrete and roads. And then you're going to notice that certain times of day, You know, in the morning, all these vehicles are heading this way into town, and then in the evening, at night, they're all heading that way. And, you know, maybe on these, you know, every 5 or 6 nights, they all are going everywhere and staying out later, you know, on the weekends. So it's the same thing here. Once you get into your habitat, you start knowing what to look for, you'll start seeing actual paths and highways that the animals are using. And deer, being pretty good sized animals, you know, they're going to make, once you know what you're looking for, you're going to be able to easily spot it. So here's a, flip this around. Here's a prime example of something that I'm seeing right now. You can see where, see that? See how they're moving right through here. This is a trail. And if you put yourself down about 1.5 feet, you're looking to your left, you look to your right, you feel pretty hidden. I can see a deer moving right through here. We're going to find some better paths, but look down there. See that? Going all the way down there. And they feel safe. This is actually almost high enough to where it might even make sense to set up in a tree over there and catch them. And I can prove it here. Come over here and look for some soft dirt. Now, this is our driest month of the year, and finding tracks can be challenging, but if you look over here, you can see some old tracks where they have come in. Really old tracks, but here's a good one right there. See a hoof. See that right there? That is a hoof. And you can tell he came out of there. That hoof print's going that way. And if you come over here on the other side, you very well might see more, or at least you're going to look and you might be able to see where they're going. You might be able to see a path here on the other side. So let's go over here. And sure enough, I already see one. There you go. Kind of an area there where they're knocking down that brush and they're going back into their brushy area. There's another old track. You can definitely see, like right here, there's some soft dirt. So you can see where they move through this. During the daytime, if they're trying to move from one area to the next, this is kind of a prime, this is what they're looking for. They're not looking for the woods where anything can see them or something can jump out of a tree and get them. All right, let's go do some scouting. Okay, so if you remember, I took a video with the camcorder of this, I don't know what we'll call these, nodding donkeys or whatnot. And sometimes these things will leak. But I think the main function of them, I could be wrong, is to pump groundwater off out of these wells that are producing gas. These are all established wells and everything. They've been drilled a long time ago. And I like these little, I call them pads or whatever, where these well heads are. And a lot of times, like I said, you might find leaking water, you might find a little standing water. And here's some we found over here. Here's some relatively fresh tracks, or you can see a group of deer moving through. You can kind of follow them. You can see some older ones there. They've been kind of dried out. But if you look, you can see where they're probably entering and exiting. You widen out a little bit. You see this? See how well traveled, how worn that is? There's a little, they're probably going through here, jumping this fence. I mean, this could just be a bear spot, but you look at this, you know, that could be a bedding area or just an area they're moving through. But these pines really give them like a screen. So if you're a deer, imagine you're always on the outlook for something trying to eat you. And this is a great place to stop, listen, smell, look around before you come out and expose yourself to whatever it is they were wanting to do over here. And usually deer are very edge creatures, so they're going to always stay around the edge if you're a deer, because they're thinking if anything happens, I can run into there. You can't find me, you can't get me. And if we come around here, we're probably going to see areas where they have paths that they use. To run in and out of here. There we go. A little trail. Yeah, this one's really worn down. And you can see what I was talking about earlier. You see it even kind of splits going down that way, and you can see where things have been moving through there. I thought I heard something. But you see, if you get down, feel very camouflaged in here. You don't feel exposed. And the great thing about hunting, I was up in that tree right there. You can see all over this, or in that tree. This is actually a pretty damn good spot. But not the spot that I'm necessarily out here to scout today. Here's kind of a view of the whole landscape. So this all been recently cut. It's been growing back for probably, I can't imagine, no more than a couple of years. And this is actually probably a really, really dang good spot. I just haven't spent much time in it. I've been scouting, and I'm most familiar with the northern part of this WMA area. And so I've spent the last couple of weekends scouting out there, and I kind of got a good idea of what's going on over there. And it's probably where I'm going to start next weekend. But I want to come out here and start to get an idea of what's going on down here. I'm wearing my boots, and I'm wearing these for two reasons. One, it is still a little warm. Snakes are a concern, and let's crank this up, turn that off. Snakes can be a concern, although I'll be honest, I've never seen one out here. The other thing is these boots will help minimize my scent. Sweaty feet are really stinky, and so the deer's number one defense is going to be their nose. They could smell a human from probably about 500 yards away, is what the best estimates are, and that is their main defense. So if you're just getting into this, a lot of people have probably told you hunt the wind, and the reason is because that's how you kind of sneak up on their blind spot. If they can't smell you, then the only thing left for them to do is see you or hear you. And I say it's kind of like a radar system. Like if a deer gets 2 out of 3, if they can see you or smell you, or they hear you and smell you, or they see you and hear you, then they absolutely are going to be spooked and know that they got a problem, and they're going to get the heck out of there. And it might be a little bit before they come there. But a lot of people are very concerned about minimizing their scent. There's detergents, there's all kinds of things on the market that people spend a lot of money on. I just use a detergent. You know, I try not to, you know, put a bunch of hair gel in my hair before I go out. I don't put on any cologne or anything like that. You definitely don't want to do anything that's going to aggravate the situation. There's a lot to learn about scent, but, you know, some people really, really overthink it. But for the most part, you know, I'm kind of with the people that think that doesn't really matter what you do. If you're close enough to a deer and the wind is blowing right, they're going to smell you. I don't care if you're in a Ziploc bag. And that's just, you know, what makes this, I hate to call it a sport, because to me it doesn't feel like a sport. It feels more like studying nature and being a biologist, to be honest. And if I do kill something and harvest a deer, and I know that I've done a lot for the herd. There are no real natural predators out here, and there's a lot of benefits to hunting deer for the deer. There's only so many deer that a habitat can supply, and there's all kinds of different, you know, ideas, and people that manage wildlife, they're constantly looking at planting things and creating opportunities for deer. But like, if you just look at this one little area, this would not be here. I just turned my camera angle so I realized I didn't turn. This would not be here if this was you know, just an overgrown 100-year-old forest. This is why it's important for things to get cut and chopped down every once in a while. So, something to think about. Better plug in my charger here. I'm gonna go real slow in these roads. You don't need a 4-wheel drive truck, but you do need to be patient. And, you know, the thing to really think about is you really got to start seeing the area that you're hunting as a deer. This is kind of what, you know, if you lived in a kind of on the edge of a mountainous area like North Carolina, they call it the Piedmont area. You know, here we just call it, I guess, Central Alabama. But, you know, this is a really cool time of year because not everything has died yet. Look at all those yellow things and think, man, I wonder if, or the white stuff. You just wonder, man, is that like a Twinkie for a deer? So, it's really a good thing when these areas are cut and they grow back. They eat all kinds of different stuff. Now, one thing I will say, here is like the most important thing I think about scouting. When you're driving in and driving out, especially if it's early in the morning or late at night, but really you can see them any time of day, right? You'll probably see the most deer you're going to see on a scouting trip or even a hunting trip driving in, driving out, right? People always say, dang it, why do I never see them when I'm in my blind or in my stand? Coming in, coming out. Well, I love it because I will mark using an app or I use Onyx, which is a great hunting app. It's basically like Google Maps, and you can use Google Maps, although Google is evil, but you can use Google Maps. And you can mark areas, but I like the hunting apps because you get a little more detail. Now, I'm at a crossroads and I need to figure out where I'm going to go, so I'm going to stop this video for a moment. But one thing I'm always looking at is whenever I see a deer cross one of these roads while I'm driving in or driving out, I mark it, and I mark which direction, and I note which time of day. Because you'll start to find that, like I told you at the beginning, it's like watching rush hour traffic. You'll start to notice that all the cars in the morning are heading into town, and at night they're heading out of town. And you'll start thinking like a deer. And then when you get into other areas and you're looking at a map and realizing that you want to look at an area, you're really looking for, what are they traveling through there at that time of day? I joke that deer hunting is a sport of hunting a nocturnal animal in the daylight hours, and it really is. They are going to feel the most safest at night. They're going to get into those big, old growth forests that have grown over, and you can see more. That is really stuff that they only would think about going into at night. And if everything else is right, they don't smell anything that smells off, nothing feels off. And even then they're going to hug, cover. In the daytime, especially once hunting season starts and people have come out here and they're getting pressured, they're really going to be reluctant to get out of there. And it's just natural selection. The deer that do go in those areas get shot, get killed. And before hunters, those deers were getting taken down by mountain lions and saber-toothed tigers and bears, and I'm sure all kinds of other animals that I don't even know about. So I'm going to stop the video right now. I need to figure out exactly where I'm going. I'm going to actually open my map app and keep letting my camcorder charge. I did not charge up overnight like I should have, and let's see what we're doing. Okay, you can see here, this is OnX. This is a really great app. You can see all the topographical information here. We drove in from down here on this road. We came in over this ridge. We came down across this creek, and we are there where the blue dot is. And if I go to the left, I'm going to go that way. And I got this right. Trying to figure out where exactly I'm going. All right. Got alert says I was panning too fast. So there we go. So if I go, oh, come on, screen. I want to show you guys my code. All right, so if you look here, if we go to the left, we're going to go up that way, and we go to the right. The cool thing about this OnX app is with a subscription, you can click on this stuff, and we can see here that this little square of land is private property owned by Ms. Morris, no relation, and gives you, private land. You can see it's definitely not part of the WMA. And this is really great for keeping you out of trouble with private landowners who don't want you on the property. Now, there are some of these roads that do go through. So let me see. Just kind of push down. So you can see here. Let me zoom out. There we go. I'll zoom out. Look at this. This is the big parcel we're on. And you can see here, scroll down, tells you who the owners are. And this is a timber company, obviously. And you scroll down, and it'll tell you right there, government land. So you know that's part of the WMA. So as long as you stay there, you're good. And we zoom in here, and we can see here that we're going to go right on the edge of Miss Morris and Mr. Chapman's property. And so you wouldn't want to get out here and start hunting over there, because you'd be on their private land, and they probably wouldn't like it, and you'd be breaking the law. So we're going to go up this way. We're going to make a right. We're going to go down this way to this road that's going to take us all the way down here. And at one point, we do go through private land, but there's no signs or anything up saying that. And I've talked to the biologists. They built this road, so we kind of have a right of way. We kind of have a right of way to go through here, but we definitely don't want to get out and do any scouting until we know we're definitely back on the WMA land. So we're going to get to where we're going, and then I'll check back in. Okay, here's a great example of what I would call a thicket. This is kind of what I'd very much expect this that area that we first came in at to look at. You can see how thick this is. I would not want to walk through that, but a deer loves this. And this is leading up. I'm just going to drive you guys in. This is leading up to where I actually shot and killed my first doe last season. And I found it by accident, and I'm just gonna, I know there's a lot of videos out there about using maps and topography and looking for saddles and funnels, and I don't know what I just hit, but it wasn't good. But there's a lot of videos about that, and that's all good and all, and it's fun when you're sitting in your underwear drinking coffee and thinking about how you're gonna hunt that day at 2 in the morning. But There's no substitute. Look how thick. There's no substitute for getting out there and seeing it. Now, a lot of the maps you're going to see, like Google Maps and stuff, they're going to be 4 or 5 years old. So if you looked at this area on Google Maps, it might look like it was raised. And so you're going to know the area and start to know, okay, well, if I see something like that, then it means it's probably more like a thicket now, because the age of the map. So you got to get out there and understand what you're doing. And how I found this area and how I ended up killing this doe was opening gun weekend last year. I was actually over here hunting this clear cut that we're leaving this thicket, and there's this clear cut where these power lines run. And even this is grown up. So you can see over here, power lines are going through, so they have to keep this clear. And clear cuts are really cool opportunities. And I was coming over, let me zoom in here. I was coming over, can't zoom in and out in this mode. Okay, so if you look at the top of that hill over there, I'll probably bring out my camcorder and show you. If you look at the top of that hill, well, let me just go ahead and switch to the camcorder now. Okay, so at the beginning of gun hunting season last year, I was coming over that ridge. I'd actually parked over there. There's another road that you can see there. And I was parking over there, and I was coming right over that ridge, and I was at the base of that pole, and I saw a buck kind of right there, and he was about right, come on, zoom, about right there. It was about 250 yards shot, and I didn't take it. So I spent the rest of the year setting up a blind right about there, hoping I'd see him come back. I never did. But what I did notice was that every evening there was a group of does that were coming out right about there. And so the next opportunity I got to take a doe, I took one. And so what I noticed was every evening they were coming out of here, they'd graze this field and stop a little bit, and then go in down here. So what I'm out here scouting today is I'm going to try to find a trail, trying to find out where they're coming. Now remember, we just drove through that thicket, and so I know that they're bedding down and hanging out there during the day, and then when they start their journey back up at night going north, then I want to see where they're going. And maybe I can set up inside of there or over there, but I want to see if I can find some better spaces here that I might be able to get one here in bow season, because I'm not going to be able to shoot a bow 100 yards or 80 yards to get one. I want to know more information too about why they're traveling through there and where they're going and where they're coming from. That's what scouting's all about, thinking like a deer. And one thing I do notice about this area is that in the northern section you'll see a lot of deer at night going south, and here you'll see a lot of deer at night heading up back north. So it seems like they're going up into the northern section at night, and then they're coming back down this way in the early morning hours, and they like to really spend the daytime down here. And it's probably because they have more cover, more habitat. Whatever it is, it's a mystery for us to find out as the hunter. Okay, so here we are. We've made it to the spot. There's a blue dot. You can see that we came in through down here, and that's where that thicket started. And those deer were coming out here and going through there. And if you look at the topography, you can see there's a creek over there in the bottom, and that's what I really want to investigate today. It's early in the season. The acorns are still dropping. They're not going to be as pressured here next weekend, and I'm hoping that I'm going to find them going into this area and maybe get a good shot at one. You can see here where I marked last season where I was measuring the distance from the road to there is about 200 and something yards. And so I was setting up my blind over there, and that's how I got them coming out. But of course, it's going to be a different game here next weekend with the actual bow season starting, and I'm thinking down here, you can see how the it's going to drop off sharply, and I'm thinking they're going through that bottom, and this is our driest month of the year. They're going to want water. They're going to want acorns, which are usually gone by the time you get into gun season. They're beefing up, looking for food, and those nuts and acorns and everything are just really high density protein for them that they love. And so we're going to get out here, and cool thing about this app is that you can set to tracking. It'll kind of track you where you're walking, and you can mark things. And what I'm going to be looking for is trails. I'm also going to be looking for fresh deer poop, which is going to tell me that they were going slow enough and hanging around long enough to where they left something. That's always a good sign. So that's what we're hoping to find today. So let's see if we can find some. Okay, so here I am parked on this little, I call pad, where there's an old well pump. And one of the first things I notice here is these tracks. They're old, but it's also dry, and these might not be as old as they look. You can see there's the clear cut and the thicket over there. You see the telephone pole or the power line. And if you walk over here, just right when I got out of my car, one of the first things I saw, imagine this thicket is leading into the clear cut. You can already see little trails. Where you can see where they're moving through. Right there. You just look at the pine needles and move slow. You can kind of see, and sometimes you can even see in the pine needles if it's been recent, where their hooves have actually gone in. But here's a great example. Look at that. Look how that's. You see where they kind of really looks like several little ways. So this is what we're looking at today. Now, we're kind of on top of a little bit of a ridge, so if we look at our map, basically straight ahead is up, and that's going to take us right into that bottom. So what I'm looking at is for where the elevation goes down. I'm going to be looking to pick up a trail over there. So let's see if we can find it. I think it's going to be this way. So we're not even but a few yards from the vehicle and the pad, and sometimes you find the weirdest things in the woods. And I'm a little afraid to touch these, but I think I know what they are. Oyster shells. I have no idea why somebody would come out here and eat a bunch of raw oysters, but apparently they did. And I guess if that's their thing, that is their thing. Maybe this is some type of illegal baiting tactic. Get the sunlight here, but I don't know. But I do know that I can see a lot of deer running through here. That to me looks like a bedding area. I didn't see any hair, but if you look at from a deer's point of view, this is a great spot just to sit. If the wind's coming from that direction, which is I believe east, or I should know, that's to the west. Yeah, it's kind of northeast. You can sit here and you can see it's very thick back there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get back there. That's going to be a challenge. But you can see this is a great place to sit. And if you're afraid of anything coming at you from this direction, you're going to smell it. You're kind of covered. You got this little screen. They love that stuff. They love it. They love it. They love it. It's kind of where deer might hang out. You can see there's like multiple trails. You can even see, if you look carefully, hopefully I'm moving slow enough, you can even see in the pine needles where their hooves have disturbed it recently, and that's what I'm talking about, finding a fresh trail. There's a, looks like a great trail going over this little hump here. I really hope this comes through on the camcorder as well as it does for me. But you can see where that's beaten down? See that? You see that? Look at all those pine needles. See how everything's been kind of pushed and brushed aside? And when I tell you they like the thick stuff, this is what I mean. They like the thick stuff. So, you know, it can be very easy to get stuck in a thicket. So I'm looking here at my map again. And one thing, this is like I was saying, see how green, hang on. See how green, light green that is? It's probably all clear cut a few years ago. I want to try to get over here to the left. These trees are probably a little bigger and I can probably move. We'll see what happens. There's only one way to find out. But I am going to turn on my tracker in case I get lost. So that getting lost is not good. Okay, sometimes you turn around and you see this stuff better than you can. But you see how everything is like this? And then right here, see that's where they're jumping over. You can even see spots where their hoof marks are going into the dirt. And you see that trail? And I even think they're going along this ridge. I tried to go in there and it did not work well at all. I've gotten in these thickets and I've gotten lost before, and not trying to do it again, but oh gosh, there's a great trail right in there. Sometimes I wish I was a rabbit. Make my life easier. But we're just going to keep walking along because I can see, look at this trail. You see where we're at? You see how they're using this as a screen? It's camouflage. They're going to move, and then there's a little trail getting out of here. This is the stuff that I absolutely hate. Whew. And I'm back out here into the, gosh. Welcome to scouting and deer hunting. And, you know, this is exactly what I was talking about, is you gotta get out here, man. I mean, something looks good on a map, and you think you're just gonna walk on in. Oh, cool. Vulture, I think. Just sitting up there. What's he looking at? He's just soaring. See so much cool stuff out here, man. It's awesome. But man, I'm looking for a way in here so I can come around to the side. And you're not going to want to be out here at 3 in the morning trying to figure out your entrance and your exit points. You know, I might be screwed on this one. We might have to come in from the bottom. It's going to mean a little more walking, but it'll be more of a hardwood area, not that thick stuff. And let me tell you, you can get lost in that stuff. It seems stupid, but I actually found a good spot. Whoa, there's a mouse or a lizard or something. But I'm not even going to try to walk into this stuff. Not even going to try it. I did find a really good spot last season by trying to walk into, by walking in something like it. And I actually got really, really lost, and it was really getting towards dark. And I'd started off in a, hardwood bottom, kind of creaky area. And, well, I wanted to make a shortcut, and I looked at it on a map, and I said, well, you know, I mean, I'm already in the woods. How hard can it be? Just go through these woods and go right back to the vehicle. And it ended up being a very, very thick thicket, and I just couldn't. You know, you're not able to go the direction you want. You get turned around very, very, very quickly. So before we go around here, we're going to go around to the other side and kind of come at it from the bottom and see if we can find where the end of the hardwoods and this thicket start. And we're basically looking for kind of a trail in and out, but not up here on the ridge, but down in the bottom to where we can stalk them and bow hunt and figure out how the heck we're going to get in there, and ideally how the heck we're going to get one out. So we're back here. I walked up to the clear cut, and what is that? Oh my God, there's someone there. It's turkey. Put down my binoculars. Hang on, let me get my binoculars out of here. There's a whole bunch of turkey. They're right there. Hopefully this is picking it up. Yeah, there they are. Look at those turkey. Look at them. I'm telling you, the coolest shit. Now let me tell you how smart turkey are and how good they can see. They probably already heard me and saw me, which is why they're running away. That's so cool. Turkey, turkey, turkey. Can't hunt them till the spring. Very cool. Sorry about the shakiness. Alright, y'all, sorry about the shakiness, but hey, we saw some turkey probably 200 yards away, maybe more, 250, but that's how good they can hear, that's how good they can see. Amazing sight, amazing hearing, really awesome. Alright, so let's proceed on to where we're trying to go. This area has kind of grown up a lot. Some of it's just because of the season, but it's also grown. They hadn't mowed it or done anything, and so we're going to go there. That's where that doe came out of. Let's see if we can find something to tell us what's up over here. All right, everybody, so here we are now. We're kind of walking through the clear cut. You can see these trails, see where animals are moving through. See if they're going in, back into that thicket. And I love grass. I love grass like this because it's a really cool time of year. Walk through here. Now this was all mowed down last year. And what I was seeing was, boy, you can even see a deer just bedding down in here, couldn't you? Just sitting here chilling, enjoying the sunshine, hiding from me. But when you look through this grass, it really gives it away. Now, where they're moving through. Now, the doe that I killed, her and about 4 other does were coming out. I really stayed away from this because I didn't want my scent to affect it. But now that we're here, you see where they're coming out. Right there. Look at that. Going back in that thicket where they're hiding all day. And usually what you'll see one will come out, and the other 2 or 3 will just wait. Here's another entry and exit point. You see that? They'll sit there and they'll wait. I was in a blind right about where that light colored right there. As a matter of fact, I remember that stuff, that, I don't know what you call it, lace or whatever it is. I'm sure there's some pretty name for it, but that white stuff, the white tops. And I was right there. She came right out here where we're at. And when she got to about right here, maybe a little further up, it was game over. I'm a little interested to see, what they were eating, how that might change this year. This doesn't look like it's planted with anything special, but Let's see if we can find some droppings. But you can see that is way too thick. That's way too thick. Now if they're heading in there, coming out of there at night or in the evening, that means they're coming up in there during the day. But this clear cut's a great place. The only problem is there's no really tall trees. And unless this stuff really gets knocked down when it gets cold, and of course the pine saplings won't, or unless they mow it down, it's going to be a lot more challenging than it was last year. The forest, I mean, things are always changing in nature, just like the rest of life. You gotta be willing to look. So here's what we're looking at now. Okay, so now I'm gonna follow this little path because I think I can see where they're moving through here. Because when they cross this field, they're always heading this way in the evening. And I'm sure if I was out here in the morning, I might see them go in the opposite direction coming at us. And you can just see, kind of take a look here. So this is the low spot on the clear cut. They really, really, really feel protected. You can just see where, look, I mean, they've probably been bedding down here. If you look. And then they're going right into this thick stuff that we tried to go into from the side, but we couldn't get into. So we're just going to walk up here to the other road. I'm not going to drive it since we're already here. Who knows? We may get lucky, find a way to get in, but I don't think so. But I know that up here at the top of the road, there's a drop off. It's pretty steep, and but it is hardwoods. So what we're really trying to do here is, I'm actually walking the trail right now on the edge of this. This just shows you, look at this. They love the edges. One environment changes to the other. And we're actually using the deer trail to get to where we want to go. But the point I was making is that there's another little tunnel into the, now you know why I wear my snake boots out here. Good grief. But oh, I hate thorn branches. So on the other side, so we're going to go up on the clear cut. Just immediately off, there's a bottom. It turns into hardwoods real quick that we can move through. So we're kind of going to make like a big backwards looking J or a circle. And we're going to try to find an area where we could get in through the hardwoods and the more piney stuff that's not so thick, and set up on the other side of these thickets where they're going to be coming out to get to water, to get to these nuts and acorns that are dropping. And ideally, there's some big ass lizards around here is all I gotta say. Oh, we just went by. So let me turn this camera back around because some good stuff here. Now this is actually where I set up my blind last year. You can see looking back, it's about a 100-yard shot. Boom, when she came out. Let's go back here. Matter of fact, let's see where I dug in. But look at this. These trails, grass gives them away. They absolutely love. And there's trails going in of your deer. Especially as this is growing up, I think they're traveling more along here because they have all these points like that to run into. And the trick is, yeah, set up a blind and wait for them to come through here. But I want to try something different because this time of year, look at this. See, if you look down, you can see where they're moving. Vegetation is getting it all up. I'm really curious, really curious what this is going to look like when it gets cold. Is this all still going to be, look, you can see, even see some old hoof prints. Look at that in here from when last time it was wet and muddy. And being this time of year, being the driest month, and with the acorns, they're going to be hanging around water. And this next weekend, they haven't felt any pressure yet this year, except for idiots like me out here scouting. And their guard, quite honestly, is going to be down. And so, you know, I'm hoping to find them taking some chances that they normally wouldn't take after all the acorns are gone, or when it's been raining and it's wetter. You know, I'm hoping to find someone taking chances and hanging out in an area that's a little bit more exposed than they normally would. I know I need to hold this up a little higher so you guys can see what's happening behind me. But we are almost here and to the other end of this clear cut. You know, same thing I've been showing you guys before, trails running into this thicket back and forth. So let's turn it around. We're coming up on this other road. We've probably gone about 200 yards. And this is where I was parking last season. And I was back there. So kind of up on the ridge, and there's another creek and stuff. I know a lot of people like to hunt going back behind us, but that's where those turkey were. And then looking back, that telephone pole is about, that's where the other road is. We parked over there. So we got thicket here, thicket there, a road there, and a road here, kind of wedging these guys down in here. Now, this is how we're going to get there. Whew. I might have to turn this camera off and take a break. But I have seen deer right about 50 yards in front of us. And now it all makes more sense. Just remember the principle that they live on the edge of where one habitat or environment is changing to another. Again, there's some tracks going the opposite way that we're going, and I've seen them very, very quickly here on the other side of this road. Oh, here's some really soft stuff. More tracks. And you see here, I can already see where they've beaten it down, although it's not really, really clear. This is what we're talking about. Now, this is a hardwood bottom, but that's that clear cut just right over there on the other side of it. I've actually hunted down in there, and it's just basically a draw, but you can move through that. Can't move through the thickets. So, the only problem is we're trying to go over here on this side. of the road. So let's come out over here. We're going to go down there, find a way to hook back to the right. No, we're not going to see any deer because I'm probably talking too much and too loud. But you can see here it's still thicket, and what I'm looking for is when this changes to hardwoods so I can move through and advance and find a good spot, because we know that draw that we saw on the map is down there, that little area where they're crossing that clear cut going through that thick stuff. And we're going to find a way to approach it from this angle. I'm telling you, man, these deer have the advantage. They can smell you, they can hear you, they can run like a deer through stuff that I can't even walk through. Okay, here we go. This is what I'm talking about. So, typical hardwood bottom. Look at the trees. They're like oaks and birches, and I'm not an arborist. So, there's our thicket right there. There's the road right there. So, let's just move along here. And I wanna act like a deer. I wanna move. I don't wanna go down there. That'll be too much cardio for one day. Unless I absolutely have to. But I wanna find the edge where this thing goes from that thicket. Oh shit. That was a hole. Around the base of these trees, there's holes. Let's put one about foot into it. Okay, so you see, here we are. Right where we want to be. So I'm going to just kind of keep working my way around. I might have to turn off the camera a little bit. And watch out for them snake holes or where the hell they are. But, oh, even here, look. I can see a trail. And this is where they're moving. They'll move right along here. Now, let me tell you, here in about a month, when all these trees fall, you're going to see all through that bottom. And that's what I mean by them feeling exposed. You can already see pretty good now. There's another path they're taking, but I want to stay up here on the high ground. And I'm going to turn off the camera. You guys see what I mean by the trail. I'm going to focus on moving through here and getting to where I want to be in that draw. So we're on the other side. Clear cut's right there on the other side. I'm going to get to kind of being where we want to be. I think we might be real close. I need to check my map. Okay, so if you look at here where we're at right now, we're trying to get to there. That's where the car's parked. We're trying to get right there. See where that draw is? And that's where those does were going. But here's another draw, and that's actually very close to where I saw that buck going into, because I've seen them go through there too. So what you see is they're going through this thicket on these trails where they can get through, and we're going to have to go around this little ridge here, but they're going through these draws. That's where we're at. We want to get to that other one and explore that. But see, here's that first one. It's coming right out of that thicket, and it's going right through there. So we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna look for any signs, but we guarantee you these are 1 or 2 paths, and they're both going down to these hardwood bottoms here. Sorry about my thumb. It's a little difficult, but you can see here they're going north that way to that blue line, to the creek. And they're going through that thicket, and they're coming out of that thicket, but they're crossing where it's low, or where they can get to that low point, that draw. They'll go in that ridge and saddle if the wind's coming from that way, from the north, which actually it is right now. And so there's a good chance we might spook one. So there's that saddle there, and they'll sit up there, and that wind's coming from this way, and they can sit up there and just smell anything coming up out, anything coming from that way. It's a real point of safety for them. Okay, so here we are at the bottom of this first draw, and you can see where they're coming out of the thicket, and you just gotta look again from a deer's point of view. If they're gonna come out into this stuff, especially once all the leaves are dropped, for them, this is a very, very safe spot. One, water is gonna pool after it rains. Give them something to drink. But if they're going to have to go down here when it's dry or to eat acorns and stuff, they don't want to be exposed on one of these ridges and these hardwoods. They want to be down here in this low-lying area to where they have cover. It's almost like if they have something to the left and right of them, they're going to feel a lot more protected, whether that's vegetation like we talked about earlier in the day. See where the dirt, they're going right through here. See, they're eating these nuts, acorn, pecan. See, they're falling. They're going to come through here and eat this stuff. They're going to want to be as protected as possible. Good spot. Now I just need to find some big old buck turd and I'll be happy. Well, you can see that draw goes all the way down to that creek. All right, good stuff. We're over here coming around, going to that second draw, which is what I've been wanting to investigate. And you see, as a deer, see this little trail, they can smell winds coming from the north, and it's a good spot for them today. They'll probably be out here at night, tonight. They can smell anything coming from that direction. And the thermals, the heat, is right now bringing up. Okay, so I almost got bit by this little green snake. I don't think it would have killed me, but I grabbed that tree, and I touched something soft that felt like a finger, and I turned around and I saw this. I have no idea what kind of snake that is, but I'm gonna look that up when I get home. Hey guy, hey buddy. Let's see if we can get you in focus. You know what, let's just sit down. Let's talk to him. Hopefully he doesn't talk back. We're in deep doo-doo. Oh. God, come on, why won't my camera focus on him? All right. All right, there he is. Hi buddy. How you doing? Sorry if I woke you up. I'm gonna go up this way. Try to get away from me. There he is. Oh, there's your head. There we go. That's a pretty picture. Come on. Focus. Oh, there we are. Yeah, buddy. Sorry, didn't mean to touch you. I ain't gonna hurt you. I know. See, he's over here smelling the wind too. See, he's got that head pointing towards the north. Probably hoping to smell a rat. What would you eat? Can't eat a rat. What am I thinking? Well, he's checking me out, ain't he? All right, bug. Climbing up this thing hoping for a bug, aren't you? All right. Well, there we go. Close call with nature. we shall continue along this ridge and see what else we can find. I mean, I'm really just following the deer's tracks, to be honest. Now there is something over here caught my attention to our right. Whew. This little thing, not a bad place. Sit, listen, watch. If you're a deer or a human. Whew. All right, that snake, whew, probably took a year off my life, but you know, whatever. Hopefully that's the last snake we see. And yeah, that's why I wear my snake boots, because they're still out here. And I'm hoping not to be mistaken for a snake snack. You know, that was a little snake. I think I would have been okay if he bit me. Okay. We do a little orientation, kind of on the other side of this ridge. And we should be coming up on the other draw. Let's check our map. See where we're at. Whew, snakes. Woo. Okay. Okay, well, here's the wonderful thing about the woods. We're not even to the point. We'll still need to go all the way around to find that draw. So I'm going to buckle down and try to get this thing done. Not take so much photography here. So my battery power is running low, and I'm going to turn this thing off. You guys know what we're doing. Following the deer trails around this ridge. Staying as reasonably close as I can to the thicket. Sometimes the damn trails will try to take you, down into a bottom, make it really hard to get out. But I actually think we're about to crest this ridge. Yeah, we are. So maybe we'll just keep rolling. Here we go. Okay, we're at the very point of the saddle, but we're not on that draw on the other side yet. So we're going to have to keep moving a little bit further down here. As you can see, it's a little bit more difficult than it was walking through that clear cut in that field. So I think I'm far enough away from that damn snake. I'm gonna find me a little spot, sit down, take a drink of water, and just enjoy the solitude and peacefulness of being out here without running my damn mouth. So I'm going to post up over here on this log and collect my, this looks like an old, might be that thing we saw, might be an old road. Oh yeah, I love these. Okay, every time I say I'm about to turn off, you shut up, something happens. This is an old logging road bed, or could have been an old road from long days before. These things are awesome. They'll usually run around a ridge, and a lot of times they'll lead to access to extremely thick areas that we can't get into. And it might be what's happening here. Oh, okay. Matter of fact, I'm almost positive that is what's happening here. Yep, you can see here. So 2 roads split off. And now life gets much, much easier. And we are going to sit down in a snake-free area. And we're going to mark this on our map. It should make it easier to find. So we're going to mark this area, and I am almost there on that draw that I wanted to see. You just wonder, is there any way we could possibly get to the car? But I don't know. I might just have to Where are we, you ask? We are there. And the car is there. We're so close, but there's no way we could ever get through that thicket that I know of. But we may find a way with this road. So, alright, water break. We're almost to what we wanted to find. We found a road. We need to mark it. We've tracked ourselves, and let's try to get out of here before we lose all our power in our devices. Okay, so I made it exactly where I wanted to go. You can see over here, there's the draw. We've come to that second draw, and this old road is continuing to go here, and that just made the last, you can see that made the last 50 yards or so very, very easy for me. Only problem is, if I drag something out of here, I'm still going to have to go up there to the road, kind of where it ends, and then take it the rest of the way to the road, which isn't possible. But if you have one run off into this brush or into, this this bottom after you shoot it, that's going to be some extra work. And I can even see the power line just right over there. We are so close to the car. We're so close to where we parked. We're so close to the road, that first road that we came in on in the vehicle. But I do not know of a way to get back to the vehicle without coming in the way we came. If I can find a way, that will really open this up for me, because now, depending on where the wind's blowing, I can hunt the back of this thicket and these deer coming in and out of this bottom from either side, or I'm not restricted by which way the wind blows. When I hunted it from the other side last year, I really was super restricted based on the wind. It's just a rock. So I'm going to follow this old road down here. I know how to get in here now from the other direction, but I'm really curious if, I might stumble across something else. I don't think I'm going to be so lucky, but it's really deteriorating fast and getting thick. You guys can see, but you never know. Sometimes it's just a matter of just a few more feet. But gosh, you can see where the deer are coming through this thicket. They're coming through that clear cut, and they're coming right through here on their way to those bottoms, especially at night. I mean, this looks like a highway intersection. Water's also going through here, but as water goes, a lot of animals will follow. And coming back up here on the other side, now we're going back up the draw. And that stuff just looks absolutely ridiculous. try and go through. Some of this ain't too bad, but maybe this is kind of like a draw. Maybe the old road. I can move through here, so I'm just gonna keep on pushing because see how thick it's getting around me. Maybe there's a trail. Maybe we're going to discover something new. Maybe we get stuck and we're turning around. We'll find out one way or the other. Our battery's getting low. Okay. I think we are so close to the car. I think we're so close. Let me see here. I think we're so close. Whew. Come on. We're probably as a crow flies, 60 yards from the car. That can be a long way through this thick stuff. And this battery's almost dead, so I might be using my cell phone for the rest of this. But we'll see what happens. Wish me luck. I think I totally missed the turtle. Sorry guys, I hit picture instead of video. Anyways, there was a turtle we just found. So the vehicle is in those thick things. That's what we tried to come through that way, about 60-70 yards. That ain't happening. I'm getting low on battery power on my phone. My camcorder's out. I didn't prepare enough, but I have water and I know where I'm at. And even if my power goes out, I have the map, and I know if I keep that eventually I'm going to reach a creek that's going to take me back into that clear cut, and then I can walk out that way. So I may be tired, but I'll be okay. So this will probably be my last video until I get back to the vehicle. I do need to conserve energy, power, in case there is an emergency. I need to get a call or a text out to somebody. And I'll probably do that if I get down to about 5% for getting out of here. I'm still hoping to find a way in back towards the car. There might be something here that I hadn't seen before. You never know, you might find an old logging road, something like that. But at the end of the day, I have a plan. And without my map, I know if I just keep going this way, walking along this ridge, that I will eventually, I think there's one more draw, and then there's going to be another draw where there's a creek. And that first draw might even give me access back into that clear cut. So the reason those draws are, I know, is because there's going to be hardwoods around those draws, and definitely around that creek and that water. And then once I get in that clear cut, it'll probably be about a 200-yard march back, but we'll basically have made a big circle. So, all right, last video. I need to turn this off, save my battery juice, and that's where we are. Wish me luck. Yeah, looks like I'm going to make it. That first draw, and I got about within 10 yards. I literally had to crawl out of that ditch, but I made it to a clear cut, and I had to make a tough decision to do so. Hopefully you can see the power lines, but I'm in the clear cut. It's not as nice as the field was on the other side, but I know that I'm going to make it. Follow those power lines, about 50, 60, maybe 100 yards at the most. There's deer trails along this, and I'm gonna be fine. So, all right, hopefully I'm so low on power, I don't even know if this is recording, but hopefully we got this. Okay, everyone, back in the car, charger's on, camcorder is charging. It's you can see I'm very hot. It's only 71 degrees, and it's 3:25, so I would have been very uncomfortable getting out of that situation much later than 4:30ish. Sunset right now is about 6:20, and it comes fast in the woods. It's not like being in a park. It's going to be water is crucial. Always bring about twice as much as what you think you'll need. Fortunately, I brought my hoodie, and I don't know how much of the video I got. I know I missed the video of the turtle, but this is what scouting's about. you don't want to find out when you're chasing a deer or you're trying to get in or out of an area in the evening or in the dark of the morning. You don't want to find out, where you can't access and where you can't. And this is what I tell the guys that love, to talk about Google Maps and everything, is that, well, that's all good and well, but when you get out here, it can be a different story. So, hang on. As you see, I'm kind of tired. I'll have to do some post editing. That'll make a little bit more sense, but basically, my tracker tracked me the whole time. We basically made a loop going through the clear cut, up to that road, down to that ridge where we came through the hardwoods, walking along, and then I really got to a point where, to me, it seemed like it would be the same distance to turn around and go back as it would be to find a way out. Now, it was fine, except I got into a situation where I really was getting tired, and I was starting to get worried that I wasn't going to find a way out. Fortunately, some of those old logging roads helped a lot. And, I think for me, and this is part of the, what makes you a wimp being a modern person, is that, my battery power, everything was going down. And I think as long as I was making the videos and talking, I was okay. But then when you realize that you can't get a hold of anybody, you can't get out a signal, you're not going to be able to look at a map, then I really started to get worried. So the plan was to trek that first draw, see if there's a way up. Fortunately, there was. I was able to get out of that. Now, there was a point where I was crawling on my hands and knees for about 30 feet, crawling out of that draw and getting up to the power line. But once I could see at the bottom of the draw where it was getting thick, where the hardwoods ended, I could look up and see the power lines almost directly above me. So I just made a decision to put on my hoodie. Another good reason I bring my hoodie, because the thorns and everything were scratching me up. I got blood on me, so it's no big deal. But it's really rough terrain, and at that point, I'm just trying to get out and get back to the vehicle. I've done all the exploring I want to do. If I find something cool, and I have found some really great areas. I found thickets where there was an old logging road in the middle that just made it was like a magical little tunnel pathway where, it was probably 10 yards wide, and just like somebody put a hiking trail right in the middle of a thicket, and I'm able to access that thicket and hunt it now, knowing where that is. Now, if I didn't get lost trying to get back to my vehicle, I never would have found it. And I think I talked about that earlier. I'll probably show you that. I'm a little apprehensive showing it because I don't think a lot of people know about it, but maybe I'll get the nerve to do that one day. But so, I just had to make a decision that I could see the power lines. It couldn't have been more than 10 yards of just this thick, crappy, thicket stuff, and I was just going to have to just take my time and just mow through it. You get panicky in those situations, and the words of a guy I know, I like to call him a friend. I don't know if he thinks I'm a friend, but we've known each other for a while. Really great guy in the area named Chris Kilpatrick, and he runs a survival school that I encourage you to look him up. I don't know his website. I need to ask him, and I'd love for him to join me. But this guy he was in the Marine Corps, and he's gone on walkabouts with nothing but no shoes. And I mean, last time we talked, he was telling me about wearing as little clothing as possible to reduce his sound. So this guy almost like has adopted a lot of the old native ways. And he was telling me, you just got to take it one step at a time, let the force kind of come to you. And it's kind of what I was thinking about when I get in those situations, is just one step at a time. Just instead of thinking of yourself having to go through the forest, kind of think of like you're almost on a treadmill, and the forest is coming at you, and you're just having to kind of lift up your feet and go one step after the other. I did probably pick up my pace a little too hard. I could, feel my blood pressure rising, feel my heart beating. And, that's probably not a situation that you want to be in alone. Have a heart attack out there. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I mean, I know it'd be hard to find me, but I mean, honestly, that would probably be a really good way for me to go. To be honest, I would if I had to pick. Dying out in the woods in this environment would probably be my ideal way to go. You know, it is what it is. I mean, there's a lot worse ways to go. So here we are. I'm getting calmed down. I'm getting cool. And what have I learned? Well, we saw a vulture. We saw a turkey. We saw these trails, and we investigated this thicket where I was only able to shoot these animals last year. I'm concerned that the clear cut is going to be so high unless they mow it. I don't know if they mow it once a year or once every 5 years or what, but if they don't mow this thing down, I probably won't have the same opportunities to hunt that clear cut that I did last year. It's just going to be too thick and too high. Not to mention with a bow season starting next week, I'm not even looking at that opportunity because the shots are too far. So I'm going to have to access to that bottom over there, and anything I shoot, I'm going to have to pull out. Oh, one last thing. So we came around that ridge, and when I realized I might run out of phone battery power, I made a plan, and this is something you always got to do because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to fall, if you're just going to get absolutely turned around or what. But if the worst would have happened, and that first draw didn't work out, I knew there was a second draw that looked a little deeper. It was marked as a creek. And if there's a creek there, I'm absolutely going to be able to get in that clear cut because I can just follow the water. And there's always hardwoods around the water. But if for some reason that second one didn't work out, I could have just gone straight down to the left, away from the clear cut, away from the thicket, could have gone straight down the hardwoods to that creek, and then gone backwards down the creek, and it would have taken me to the road. And that's an area I am more familiar with. I did look at the map. That's easy to remember. That would have been my worst case scenario. It may have been dark by the time I got back to the car, but I would be fine. One last thing, when I did get back to the car, it was so hot and exhausted. I opened the car door. Not really that exhausted. I'm being a little dramatic. I was just mainly hot and it was mostly mental. And I opened the car door and I put my keys on top of the car. Then I start looking for the keys to start the car. I can't find them. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I put them in the hoodie and taking the hoodie and pulling them out. They fell out because it's one of those little hand warmer pockets. And I've had that happen before. I have dropped keys. I have dropped cell phones. And I usually keep a spare key hidden on my car because that's just a good thing in practice. But you definitely don't want to be out here in the woods and you lose your keys and you make it back to the car and you can't start the car. You may need it to cool down, to warm up, obviously to get out, charge your phone, call for help. You don't know what's going to happen out here. And I went and checked for, I knew I had a battery pack in the trunk that I could use to charge the phone, so I wasn't too worried. But I just really didn't want to sit out here for 2 hours and wait for my friends to find me after I call them and get a call out. I got the best friends in the world. I know they would come, but I don't like waiting on people. It's not a lot of fun for anybody, especially out here in the dark in the woods. And so I went to look for my magic spot where I hide my key, and it wasn't there. And to be honest, it's been a long time since I checked. It's probably come off. And it's a good reminder that, again, I wasn't really super as prepared as I should have been for this scouting trip. And I got some work to do. Obviously, I need to get a key put back in another spot, hopefully one more secure. And I don't know what else I could have done except maybe charge my phone. I brought plenty of water, a cigarette lighter, something to start a fire if need be, because it might get down to the 40s tonight. It could also create a good signal if somebody had to come looking for me if I was hurt. But I think, the problem is it's those one or two things that you don't do that can end up killing you if the worst happens. I do keep a first aid kit. I used to carry it in my backpack. Now I, carry it, but you always want to have something you can make a tourniquet out of out here, especially when you're dealing with firearms and even with bows and arrows. But so where we're at right now, I'm kind of taking my time because it's 3:30 and the sun's starting to get low, and probably in about an hour or so the animals will start getting more active, the deer will. And I'm gonna charge up the camcorder, and I'm hoping maybe we'll see something. We'll mark it, notate what direction it's going, and we might even find other spots. But as far as what we found today, we found our entrance and our exit point. I would not want to exit through that way. I would rather drag a deer around that ridge to the road than go how I had to get back up here. Um, if it was really close to that, then yeah, I might do it. But man, that would be hard because there's points where I was literally crawling out of ditches and on my hands and knees. Um, Saw some great wildlife, had a good time, killed an afternoon being out here in nature and making this video. So I don't really know what in the world could be better. And I know this area, I know what's back here. If I ever kill a deer again and it runs to this brush or runs into it or runs out of it, I know what I'm getting into. I know what's on the other side, not only for my hunting, but if I'm out here in the dark or even during the daylight and I'm trying to track an animal that I've wounded, I know what is going on out here, and I have a better idea of what's happening. You don't want to find out, in the dark chasing a deer that there's an area you can't move through. These maps are so deceptive. They're great for scouting, great for topography, but you do not know what the terrain is like until you get out here. And you do what I just did, which is get out here, get on your feet and do it. All in all, I walked about 1.6 miles is what my tracker said, although it feels like it was more like 16 miles, but that's the difference between walking around on a walking trail and actually going through the woods and following the deer trail. And ultimately, the way I got out of this was just following deer trails. So I could see the trails going around the ridge, going to that other draw, and you could see where they're crossing these clear cuts in these draws and going into the thicket, and then going on around these thickets, the edge of the thickets and the hardwoods. They're going on these ridges. So, those are some great spots, man, to get up in a tree or just put up a blind and just wait and see what happens, because we know they're coming through here. And it's still early. There's, plenty of pecans and all kinds of nuts and acorns dropping. Every time the wind blows, half the time you can hear them drop. And so there'd be some good spots here, I think, especially in the evening, because I know a lot in the evening, but even in the morning, I bet you they're going to be coming up in here going the other way. So it might be a good opportunity to get one coming out of a bottom before they get into the brush, and they might run into the brush a little bit after you hit them, but it might not be a bad drag getting them out. Or you just go on the other side of the brush and see if they've made it out through there, and maybe they'll even die in the clear cut for you. Who knows? Okay, well, let's start making our way back out. Probably going to be about a 15, maybe 20-minute drive, maybe longer back out. We're going to go back out the same way we came in, and I'm going to have the camcorder ready, and hopefully we see some deer crossing. So I'm just going to kind of have it ready to go as I'm driving, and we'll see what happens. Oh, this is a great overlook. Let me get my binoculars out. Let's see what see if there's anything down there. I love places like this where you can just look out. Nothing. But yeah, I really love places. I really love places like this where you can just look out. And of course, I don't, as tempting as it might be, I think it'd be might be legal barely, but I don't think it'd be very nice to, and this might be on the private land part anyways, but I don't think it'd be really nice to set up and hunt a road like this, because I know that this is the only way in and out, so I know hunters are going to be coming in and out, and it's illegal to shoot across a road or within 50 yards of a road. I'm really not clear if these things count as a road, but Um, it's not safe. Oh, here we got two other people. Hikers, something. Fishing. Alright. They were kind of young. They probably thought I was weird. But that's okay. Part of being old. But yeah, so you're going to run into people. I didn't want to. They looked under 18. I'm not going to put them on video or anything like that. But without their parental consent, right? So yeah, apparently there's somewhere to fish. So you're going to run into other people out here, just like I was saying, you know, you hate to be up in a tree. And, it's just not a good idea to hunt too close to these roads, even if you do think you're within the law. Now, there are, roads that are behind these gates that the gas well companies use, and I know they're not coming out there, especially during hunting season, unless they absolutely have to. And now those roads might be a different story. One, they're gated off, so a car's not going to come down there, and the only possible person that's going to come down there is another hunter. And while we're on the topic of respect, that's one big thing. If you go to one of these gates or you go to one of these areas and you see another vehicle already there, just move on. There's no reason to crowd them or to treat it like it's your sacred spot. None of these spots belong to me. And there's, a real stigma about public land and, the Orange Army, that people like to call it pejoratively. And, characterizes a bunch of people just out here tromping through the woods and on top of each other and acting like jerks. But I have not found that to be the case. I did come out here one weekend when it was extremely busy. But you know what? It forced me to find another area, a bunch of national forest land that I think is even better than this area. Just another, not even 30 minutes away. Most people out here are just like me, and they're out here because they love nature, they love hunting, they like, getting others involved in it, and, they're not out here acting like if they don't get a deer, they're going to die. Fortunately, I got a pizza, hamburgers, all kinds of stuff on my way home I can get, and I got food in the fridge. So while I do love the meat, and I eat as much deer meat as I can, I eat everything that I harvest or give it to people who will eat it. I gotta switch back to this way. It's nothing out here to get upset about. Even if it takes 2 or 3 seasons, it took me 2 just to get a shot at a deer. My first season, I didn't even get to shoot at one. I did have an opportunity to shoot 2 bucks that were crossing a creek together, and I got so excited. I missed my shot, and it wasn't the best setup in the world. There was a lot that I was still learning, but I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed every minute that I've spent, and I've spent hours and days out here. I've enjoyed every single bit of it. I have never had a bad day out here in the woods, scouting, hunting. And so for me, it's not about whether I killed something or not. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. People that don't know anything about hunting, and I knew enough to know this before I even started, but, people that really just have grown up without fishing or hunting or anything in their life, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how they were raised. They think we're just coming out here and just gunning down deer, innocent animals, which they are for the most part, but they think we're out here just, a bunch of fat asses just gunning down animals and stuff all day, and we're not. It takes a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of getting lucky. And let me tell you, man, The deer have the advantage. They really do, especially public land hunting. They're going to run faster than me. You can already see they can go places that I could never go. This is their home, and I'm a visitor. And they can smell better than you. They can hear better than you. All right, well, we're getting close. We didn't see any deer, and a lot of that just had to do with the time of day. Driving out, it's a little early for them to be getting super active. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to go home and do some post editing, and hopefully it'll make a lot of sense, and I can maybe even throw in some stuff. But welcome to scouting, and like I said, this is just, I'm sure everything I said in here is not gospel, but I'd like to think that this video is helpful for other people that are like me. Maybe you've gotten into deer hunting late, or you don't have a bunch of people to hunt with, or you don't have a lot of private land to hunt, and you want to get out here and take advantage of what's out there. So this is step one, is really getting yourself familiar one trip at a time with one little area that you've seen signs that it's worth investigating. And it's all an investigation. You're looking through, you're looking for the signs, and I know that that's a good area because that's where I've killed a deer. I've seen the deer go through there. I've seen a buck. I've seen a doe. And now I understand the area a lot more, which is going to make me a better hunter. It's going to make me better prepared for whatever happens out there. Whether I kill a deer and I have to go chase it 100 yards and drag it up out of that creek bottom, or have to go into that brush to pull it out and then get it back. Or if something worse happens, like an emergency out there, and I need to find my way back. You don't want to be guessing on your route. You want to make sure if there is a true emergency, that's not the time, unless you're 100%. I will take a route that's 2 miles over taking one that's 200 yards that I don't know, and I think that there's going to be a big problem. You're better off going 2 miles because you'll know you'll make it back. You don't want to get stuck in brush and if you're hurt or injured and unable to contact anybody. That could be a bad place. It'd be really hard for people to find you. Something that would have happened to me, crawling out of that ravine, and if nobody would, in that brush, nobody would ever see you. It'd be very hard for somebody to find you if you weren't able to tell them where you were. So, all right, well, that concludes the video, and hopefully we'll have some more here soon, some more with some deer.